couple of the lads, after they messaged me, naturally, we got halfway through this fucking weekend of trials, and they text me new teams. Oh, I've changed my team. It's just like, for fuck's sakes, you know, I can't just magically make Bogan do work. He's got other shit on, you know. So I was like, he's done his graphics already. Bad luck. This is what's going up. And I imagine that because Tavita Pangai surely made his way out of a lot of teams, Hampton.
Well, yeah, it was a bit argy-bargy over the weekend in their trial. I think it was Monday, wasn't it? But whatever day it was. But yeah, I'm not sure what the percentage is King, but obviously after that there was plenty of chat on social media, and I definitely saw a lot of people getting off him. As a result, you know, it's pretty common knowledge, Bud, that he's got the discipline can be a bit of an issue keeping that in check. And
who does that shit in a trial? Fuck.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good to see, and someone that's pretty keen on him myself, it definitely makes you have to think twice, eh?
But it does. I mean, he's just got that fuse that once he gets lit in the game, until he gets either sin binned or sent off, it isn't stopping, you know. And it's not for a good thing. It's for the niggle and it's for the penalty giving situations. So yeah.
This is Blade Buckman, which is a fantastic fucking name, by the way.
Blade. All right, so that's Matty Titan's nephew.
Blade. The parents are Wesley Snipes fans? Or
well, it's spelled with a Y in there, so I'm not too sure. But yeah. Anyway,
the other thing that will be hard to comment on is not really being able to see the entire team layout in one image. But
yeah, because as you say, mate, like a lot of the upper stuff at this time of the year responds from the lower stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
but I guess
who you put in the wings. Looking
at that, he's gone an extra heavy in the second row there with Colo and Young as well. So both not that cheap at $530K. There's a bit of money invested in there.
Quick hookers though. So he's gone Clark on the bench. So rather than a standout at number one and maybe Randall backing up on the bench, he's just gone a cheapie there. So
it's Guy was a cheapie to look for too, but he was injured. He was injured on the weekend. Yeah, he'll be out for about 6 weeks, at least from what I saw on NRL Physio.
Yeah.
Now, a few mid-range guys there in that forward pack in general. You obviously got Otoka, Manu, which again the number of people are getting off as well. But Kolomatangi, Hudson Young, even Lolo. There's a lot of guys in between there, King, I reckon, which I don't know. I don't think any of them have big ceilings either, the back rowers. So I don't know whether you'd be better off trying to just go to one of those more elites to try and get that ceiling.
You know, that's why I've liked Hudson Young.
You got the ceiling, you reckon?
I think he does. I think he's got the games where, maybe a Nakora as well. Like, I reckon they can score 2 or 3 tries. Like, you know, we're not talking Menzies. We're not talking, Ryan Hoffmans and blokes who ran those kinds of lines. But they just find a way to get over the try line. And I think Hudson Young's done it a few times before where he's picked up a sort of 110, 120. I may be wrong. It might be sort of high 80s or 90s. But I just feel like with them, it's there in a game. Whereas most other second rowers, you just don't see it that much anymore.
I guess the one thing with Hudson is Ricky does tend to favour him. We talk about,
Hey, Bill, mate. Just quick shout out to Dylan Cairns in the chat. My boy from work. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, Dill, DC. But I don't know. He does tend to get favoured a bit by Sticky. He gets 80 minutes on the edge, which is good. Kolomatangi as well gets 80, but again, just not seeing enough from a ceiling perspective. You think they're going to have a breakout, you go for it. King, looking at this, I mean, you got Aaron Clark there, as you said, which again, it would have been nice to see the Titans trial on the weekend. I don't know what the makeup of their bench will be and what sort of minutes he'd be looking at, but obviously if he gets some big minutes, I think he comes on the radar pretty quickly. Does a side with a forward pack like this have Cleary and Turbo? Looking at that top half. No, I'm asking him a question.
No, hang on, Bruce. Hang on.
Can he afford it?
Not both. No.
I don't think he has both.
To get Turbo and Cleary, you've got to have fucking near on 11 cheapies on the bench. Like,
I think he'd have Cleary, but not Turbo. He's probably got the Teddy Pap or something like that at the back.
Yeah, Teddy Pap, I'd say.
Let's say it, Bogues.
Definitely. Yeah.
There it is.
And no Cleary is.
And no
But
Cleary.
Jerome Hughes. Okay, interesting. Thoughts on Keary, mate?
Yeah, look, I think there's still a bit of speculation as to whether he's fit for round one. So obviously, if you're thinking of starting with him, you'll have to keep an eye on team lists for that. I mean, if he's there, I'm a big fan of just watching Keary play footy, but Supercoach wise, he has been probably one of those guys we think about as a roller coaster. More traditionally, he has the big scores in him, but he also will sometimes have those very low two-digit scores in him at times. I guess you just got to be prepared to take the good with the bad. If the Chooks have got a good run, a lot of people think Teddy will be better off this year for Keary being back in the side, but there's going to be games where Keary, I think, scores low. He just doesn't. Just the type of player he is, he doesn't score big every week, but he'll have a game where he gets 3 or 4 or 5 try assists and makes a few line breaks and that sort of thing. So you just got to be able to wear it with him. He's not a bad price at $530K, but I'm personally looking elsewhere. Hughes is another interesting one. Again, you're sort of paying this sort of price for guys. They're priced pretty $640K. That's a pretty decent average. So you just got to, if you're picking these guys, there's something in your gut telling you they're going to go well, or they should start the year well. So, provided they have good draws, which, the Melbourne probably do.
I think the advantage of having a Hughes or a DCE price guy there in those halves is, let's say round one goes through and they perform poorly, and round two Cleary comes back and Cleary throws out a 140. I think it's easier. A lot of guys have got Keary as their sort of number one half and just a nufty. It's a lot harder to get from 500 to 950 than 650 or 700 to 950. You could probably drop another mid-ranger somewhere else and get to Cleary, knowing that you can't miss the boat by too much.
Oh, absolutely, totally agree. It's not a bad ploy, as you say, and I don't mind those halves. Like, you got Keary, Hughes, Johnson. If you're not going to have Cleary, one of the next best might be one of these blokes. I don't know which one. Maybe it'll be a couple. We'll have to see. But spread the money a bit around in the halves, and then it hasn't gone overly cheap in the centre wings either. King, he's got Staggs, he's got Coates, who's at that weird sort of price, and then cheapied out a little bit more with Targo, Suwale, Amon, and a few of the boys. But it's not bad again for a side that doesn't have Cleary and Turbo. I don't think we've given anything useful for young Blade at this point, but I think not sure how old he is, mate. I don't know. The team's looking good. I wouldn't make any too drastic changes, mate. As always, I'd like to say go with your gut. There'd be a couple of things if you need to downgrade someone, maybe look at one of those back rollers. You've got a few of them, and obviously a few halves there where you could find a bit of extra money if you do want to go to a Cleary or something like that. But pretty solid to start the year. I don't mind it at all. Nothing critical from my end. Just a couple of other options you could look at, but I like it.
Cool. I'm just catching up.
Brendan Thurston.
Oh, JT's brother. Jonathan's brother. Who we got? Brendan Thurston.
Oh, I like it. I like some of these. I'm not seeing a few of these in many teams. I like it.
I think obviously the Tavita might have lost a bit of shine, but I like this. Yeah, this is sort of everyone's been talking about and being able to put it all in there. Like, I've seen a lot of people take 3 or 4 of these, but everyone's been talking about Lukey, Tuolangi, Piakura, Aiken, like Momosia, a bit of whispers around him. Maxi King's been good. Like, this is probably, again, Tavita probably just lets it down right now, mate.
Yeah, look, and again, I like Marnie at hooker, even though, we'll see what happens. Parrott obviously did a number on Penrith in the trial over the weekend, which, a lot of Para fans have already started buying grand final tickets. Benny, I think, has gone diamond, the upper echelon class already. But you can't ignore they've got plenty of Supercoach friendly players, and Reid Marnie's a centrefold of a bit of that for them as well. He likes to sniff out the dummy half. He gives a good short ball to a few of their big boys close to the line. So I really like Reid this year. I like it. bit different to Grant and also a little bit cheaper, so nice one. I think the only issue with Marnie is depending on how BA looks after him, knowing that he's moving on to the Dogs next season. Obviously, if the Eels are going to be any genuine chance of winning the comp, this bloke's got to play 9 majority time.
One of the comments that I heard one of the guys sort of make about Supercoach this year, and especially considering last year, like all the big scores, these days we want, I think it was the beers and fucking bitches. What's that fucking YouTube? So anyway, beers and bongs.
You're telling the story. Fuck, I'm listening.
Mate, these guys sort of said, it's essential to have guys that can hit 150s now. Like it used to be 90s was a massive score. My problem with the Eels is there too many mouths to feed. Like, it almost just seems like, rightly or wrongly, whether it's better for their premiership hopes or not, they haven't proven it so far, but they seem like they've got attack all across the park. Like, you can't just pick out that one player who's going to get the score. And 1 week it could be Dill Brown, could be Reed Marnie, could be IPAP,
Yeah, it is. You're spot on. It is. But there's plenty of people, looking to start with some Paraboys. I'm a big fan of AFB. Obviously, you are as well, King. I like AFB at 500k as an alternative to Haas, but, arguably a pretty solid pairing there, your bookends.
After the weekend, this is my front row pairing.
Haas and AFB.
Yeah. That's... I'm locked in with that.
Yeah.
I wasn't sold on Haas to sort of... We know what he is, mate. And it's not that I was anything against that. I just thought... I guess I thought that Utukumanu's and the couple of guys who might improve, the Spencer Lenyus and things like that, they're another year on. But you look how far ahead of him Haas already is, and he's another year on, like he's going to get better as well. So I think we can see a big year from Payne.
Yeah, and look, a couple of cheapies in this one again. I'm not as sold on Lukey as everyone else is. I'm not actually aware what minute share he had in that trial over the weekend, but there was people that said he looked good. I'm less sold on starting the season with Lukey, but you've got to start with someone. So I understand it. If by round 3 he's the guy that needs to come in, so be it. But I personally won't be starting with him. Tulagi, I don't know if this is a young bloke who's got some raps on him that might end up getting a start somewhere there. But
I don't think he's young. To be fair, like watching him there on the weekend,
it's not Tulagi you're thinking of then.
No, I don't think it's who you're thinking of, because this guy played a few last year, as you can see by his averages, but he actually looked probably late 20s kind of thing. Like he might have been a park footy guy who just finally got a shot. I might be wrong, but he looked fucking 40.
I thought he was a young bloke, but anyway, we'll see what happens. Team list will determine this one as well, King. So I don't see any issues with that 4-pack. A few of the benchies, you have to check out team list with Maxi King there and Mamasia, obviously. But if they're there, there's nothing wrong with them to start the year for sure. And Mamasia could be a smoky, especially a not bottom dollar, but 200k cheapie with that duality between the front row and second row will be gold, I think.
Yep. Cool. Go to the backs. All right, Pappy Teddy, Stags, man. Yeah, man. Look, he just hogs the ball enough that he's going to score Supercoach points.
And it looks like he's going to play a fair bit of time in that lock roll. By the looks of things, Barnett might be off the bench and then rotate in the front row, and Man could fill in anywhere. But yeah, like you said, the way he plays is just very Supercoach scoring friendly and conducive. So
I don't mind it. Like it's good, but I just go to the fact again is the bloke probably going to score more than 50 or 60 each week? He's going to be that annoying little player that you can sort of get an average out of. I don't really see the ceiling in.
I don't think he'll hurt you too much, eh?
No. I think you can miss him and take a punt elsewhere.
I think the only thing with him is he does push an average over 50 or 55 to 60 King. He's going to make some all right cash. And obviously, that centre wing or even 5'8", he'll be helpful just to plug a hole for a bit as well. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Again, team list will tell it all. Adam O'Brien will name him to start lock, and then 5 minutes before kick-off, we'll put fucking Sue back in there. So we'll see what happens there, man. Whether he ends up being a trap or not, we'll see. But he's pretty Supercoach friendly anyway.
Yep. All right. Sexton, mate, I'm convinced. Not a fan. So hang on. What do we got? So we got Sexton, Hastings. Go back to the forwards for a sec, Bo. I suppose. Oh, but again, you've just got. Oh, you're going X now. I think he'd have more money than this. I thought he'd get one more game.
I was thinking he might have had a bit more money, but he doesn't have Cleary or Turbo. So, but I suppose you got AFB at 500, Marnie at 600, Lukey on the bench at 350, and then Coach.
I suppose doesn't take much to take away a 500k player this early season, turn into a 250. Yeah, all right.
I don't think Billy Walters is a go at 300k. There's too many issues around the security, obviously, but I think that one's a quick change on team lists if he's not there, and then depending on the team lists throughout the season after that. But yeah, have no Turbo or Cleary at your own peril, but I like Fafita in there as well.
All right, next one, folks. Joshy Park. All right, yeah, Joshy messaged me as well. Hang on, let me look up these messages, you fucking bastards. Switch BGN Game Day. Joshy Park, what did he say? Hey lads, I've updated my team. You're still able to feature in PIMP? Yes. Fucking what have you changed it to? It's fucking got worse, mate. Jesus, it's got worse.
This team.
We got Corey Pay in there instead of Hetherington, because the talk is that Corey Pay is going to get the starting spot. So he's gone to that. He's dumped. Fuck, I don't know what you've done here. He's dumped Tukamanu and he's put in AFB.
Yep.
He's still got all the rest in one way or another. Yeah, so look, I'm just Corey Pay. Fuck, I don't know. I think hooker is just that far gone between like the likes of Grant and Cookie, Arnie, that you've got to have one of those guys. Like I think there's no hooker about today that's going to make 300 or 400k and get to join their likes. They're just going to average 40s to 45s, and it's going to be absolutely unexciting. You've got to go one of the top guys at hooker. Only reason you go a guy like Randall is because he can make 60 tackles a game, and instead of averaging 45, he averages 60. So
I don't mind Hetherington. There's a bit of mail he could start in the middle as well. So at 300k at hooker, he's not bad. But Pakes, I don't know. Like, where's Turpin going to go? Turpin's still in the picture as far as I'm aware, and they like him as a footballer. Whether Walters got a change of heart. I think Pakes looks the better hooker, but I just don't see him out in Turpin anytime soon for Pakes to be relevant. But happy to be proven wrong on that one. But just looking at this side, plenty of money in that forward pack as well, King. So
Dylan asked, what is it with TPJ? He's a cunt, mate. That's what it is. He's a fucking idiot. Well, he's a wasted talent.
You got to think he's a bloke you can pick at front row who's going to probably play 80 minutes on the edge. You just got to understand that 80 minutes he's very much liable for a 6-week or a 10-week suspension because he's got a brain.
We all like a pod. We all like someone. We think, all right, let's pick one or two main differences. This guy's not that, There's a lot of people sort of on him. I don't think he's sort of pod level, but he could be a pod for everyone else because you guys are taking him, and he just goes shit and he gets suspended.
Well, I still can't believe it's anti-podding him. You don't go him because everyone's going him.
Yeah, I can't believe he didn't get suspended. Like just a week or something for what he did on the weekend. Like, yeah. But anyway.
Look, I still like him. He's probably never had consistency in his game either, King. He's probably never solidly averaged something with output. He might bump out a 40 and then have a double the next week, or so he's a little bit of a roller coaster as well. But I just like him. If he can get his head right, it'd be awesome. But fucking hell, he just showed on the weekend he's got some work to do in that space, as we've already discussed. Look, I think Crichton at 650k is an interesting one, King. I know a lot of people. I'm a big fan of Gus, but I just think at 650k he has to start the year really well. I know, they start up with the Knights. Who have they got after that? Probably need to have a look. At 650k, I don't know. I think there might be a bit of value for money elsewhere. At that sort of price, he's got to be scoring tries early on in the season to be a good start.
I've had him in a couple of teams. I've gone to IPAP.
Oh, that's worse than that, I reckon. Stick with Gus.
Mate, honestly,
stick with Gus.
Look, I don't know. There's just something there. I watched it in the trial, and I know it's a trial. We talk about it's a trial, but it just looks to me like IPAP's going to start the season quickly, as I think the whole Parramatta sort of team will. And that's why I say, is there too many mouths to feed? But this guy managed to find so much space, so many tackle busts last season. I just see him kicking on again. So I'm fucking pulling the trigger on him. I'm going him.
I definitely think you should start with Gus over IPAP, but I'll let you go. Yeah, look, a lot of people also on Lolo. I'm not sure on Lolo. He's pretty much like a Lukey as well. I'd want to have a look at what the role is, what he's doing, what his minutes are, because it's just there's plenty happening in that Cowboys pack. But
could you put Victor Radley there, mate?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. What's he priced at?
Look, about 440. Look, a couple of years ago, he was a nominee to be added to the list. And he's done well over the years, and I've just sort of softened on him. So he's well and truly off the list. He's at 440k. I think, again, I think he's got the ability to turn off the tap that him and TPJ have got, right? Like, that sort of stupidity. I think Victor can learn from it. And especially in the sort of Roosters environment. So I reckon he can be effective this year without the risk of fucking suspension and stuff.
Yeah, look, I don't know about his price. That's all. 440. You'd want to have a look. He can play 80 in the middle there. Whether Robbo gives it to him or not, I don't know. But he has to be playing decent minutes, King, to be any sort of relevance, like 60, sort of 65. He probably bangs out a point per minute in base, probably, but he also is that link for him. He also is that.
Kano just said Victor is not relevant. No, that's not my point, mate. My point isn't that whether he's relevant or not as such, because any Supercoach player that is relevant is either, I guess, someone who's there at the end of the season. I mean, you can argue that it's price related or whatever, but when we're trying to fit whoever we can into our teams, like if you're trying to fit Turbo at the back, I'm looking at someone who's maybe 440k there instead of 600. You know, I'm trying to get for that first 4 or 5 weeks out of him what I need.
Yeah.
So it's not so much relevant for Supercoach, but for my position and my team.
Yeah, and then that makes it a very different discussion as well. Yeah, like I said, he plays that link role as well, King. Like he'll be that extra first receiver or that acting half for them. You know, when he's playing for the Chooks do better because they all have like that. He's like almost like a halfback, but he's a lock, and then the actual playmakers are a little bit wider out, which then frees up everyone else outside of them. So, look, he's interesting. I'm a big fan. He's one of my favourite players, King, but I'd want to have a look at him again, like everyone else I'm probably unsure about.
Yeah. All right, fair cool. And then what do we got? Whose fucking team is this? Josh Parks. I don't mind this. I'm not 100% sold on Stags and Coates. Stags actually made his way out of my team now. Again, I'm not too sure. I love Munster in there. I really do. Anyone, I think, at the moment who's got the balls to take Munster or Cody Walker, anyone who can find that fucking 650 or 750k, I think you're going to get rewarded huge. I reckon these two blokes have, look at them in the trials. These guys have turned up to play right from the start of the season.
It'll be interesting. Munster's a very interesting one. See how he goes. Plenty of balls, like you said, at that sort of price. Coates as well. It's going to be one of these things, King. The people that start with these guys are either going to, like you said, get rewarded big time because it'll pay off at the start, or they won't, and they'll playing catch up. Like Coates at 350, it's that risk versus reward.
Who have Melbourne got on the wings?
Well, you'd have to assume Coates is one of them.
Because obviously they've lost that O'Carr.
So Coates would probably be one of them, and then you've also got Nick Meaney that's joined the club. You've got Dean Eremaya.
That's why I ask. Nick Meaney. Obviously, if Pappy's out, he's going to play fullback. George Jennings is out there as well.
Yep.
I like Meaney. I think I loved what I saw from Meaney at the Dogs. I thought over the past 2 or 3 years that Nick Meaney has been one of the Dogs' best players, right? Like in a side that just struggled everywhere, he seemed to be week in, most weeks for them, the shining light for me. And I thought Melbourne definitely saw something similar, which is why they've signed him. I think this guy in this system can become a really, really, really good player. I think the problem is he's better a fullback than a winger. Like he's more of a lanky fucking striding winger that we don't really see anymore rather than his stocky, bowl you over wingers. And similar kind of thing to Coates. But I just think this guy's got so much more ability.
Yeah, the other thing is Coates is a right side winger. He played on the right side for Brisbane. If he plays on the right side for the Storm, that means Josh Addo-Carr's wing will be the left, which, Meaney, I think, I tend to think that Melbourne favour the left. There's no statistical basis to back that up, but I just feel like they favour that left, so Meaney could end up being the one that everyone misses because everyone's high on Coates. So, yeah, look, I guess apart from Munster and maybe Keary, seeing the rest of the guys like your Stags, Coates, Teddy, Pap, Matt, Penasini, Swaley in a lot of teams. So, can't really blame anyone on those. I think that a couple of those cheapies might not get a run. May, we're unsure about. Cooler probably won't as well. But again, we're just going to wait till the team next Tuesday. I think it's fine till then.
And what do we got next, Bugs? This is our boy, Dill. I've tried to... he has had his team already pimped a couple of times at work. So, he started off absolutely terrible.
And this is what he's finished up with?
I gave him a tweak. I didn't say I fucking made the team for him.
Dill, first thing you need to do, mate, is open that up, go in and fucking trade Connor Watson out right now. And find something else. That's all I'm going to say to start.
Yeah. Get Connor out of there. Maybe put in... there's plenty of blokes in that second row at sort of 500 odd. What do you think of a Twal, mate? An Alex Twal? Is he just not as exciting enough for a football player?
He's like the super. He would have been. He's born in the wrong era, King. If it was the back,
he's Supercoach 8 years ago.
That's right. He's a LaFranchi. He's a Parker. He's a. These guys are just full meat and potatoes. That would have he would have been elite. Unfortunately, he's born.
How sad's that, mate? Like those blokes, they've lost their fucking relevancy in Supercoach. Yeah. Now they're just everyone else.
So look, I'm a big fan of Twal. He does the hard stuff, and he's probably a front rower in a lot of ways. But look, he'll plug a hole, and I love him in draft as well. I think he's an awesome draft guy. But classic, it's a bit hard. He doesn't have that ceiling. He doesn't have any attacking stats. I don't know if he's even scored a try in his career yet. Look, Paulo and Kikau, be prepared to ride the roller coaster. These boys are, big and devastating when they're in form, but they also tend to go missing and also can be quiet at times. So you'll have to take the good with the bad. They're not overpriced, I don't think, but they're interestingly priced. They're definitely not cheap. So it is a bit of a risk at that 500K mark, but I couldn't say don't start with them because they could perform well to start the season. They could be good pods, but I definitely would try and see off Watson and maybe even Moses Leota at 400K is a bit of a stretch just because, you'd have to see a pretty big elevation in minutes to be relevant, and at 400K is probably not amazing value in my opinion, but if you like someone, whatever, but that would be the couple I'd start off with in the pack.
It just looks like Moses. He's just out of place there. Like, you either have him as one of your starting. That you know, if you put a fucking Andrew Fafita in there after the weekend's performance, give Fafita a run. Yeah, and all of a sudden you've got the exact same player, 200k to spend elsewhere.
Yeah, so look, there's people suggesting guys like Arrow and Luciano Leilua, which is fine. Again, if you like watching someone and you like how they play or whatever, and you want to start on, that's fine. But and these guys could do something to start the year, but there's definitely some other options around. At least for Leota, you could look at an Arrow and Watson try and just find something else anyway.
How fucking good are these?
LCMs, they good?
Fucking. Man, this has been around since we were kids.
Sorry,
like,
kids.
Fuck.
Sorry, kids. No fucking LCMs in lunchbox tomorrow.
Fucking no.
Dad's been fucking having a late night snack, but they can't.
Well, I can't fucking taste anything. I can actually taste this. This is all right. I had dinner tonight, some fucking spicy Korean thing. I couldn't taste a fucking thing.
All right, show us the bottom half of this one, Bugs. Right. Nice thing. Look, yeah, so very different in the outside backs. I don't think, is Opacek even going to get a start, Benny? Dunster's gone.
No.
What the fuck have you been telling this bloke? Dunster got injured 2 weeks ago for the season. King, have you been this poor bloke? What have you been telling him? Have you got him in one of your cash comps, the poor mate?
Mate, I can't let the cunts beat me. I said I can fucking help him. Mate.
Oh, shit.
All
right. I don't think...
You have to trust in people as an expert.
Dunster definitely don't start with him. And the fullbacks are arguably your most important position. So I think Savage looks good, and at some point he probably gets the duality added to centre wing after round 6, maybe, depending on how much time he gets for Canberra. But try and find another gun fullback. I don't mind Naden as a bit of a pot at 340k. I don't know if Opacek will get a start either at 400k. So
Still just commented. Opacek gone, Dunster gone, Swaley gone, Kotrick gone.
All right.
Who's your mate?
All right, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I mean, stitches there, King.
All right. Carry on, mate. Is that it?